This lake from the sky looks like a dinosaur.
Now, we've examined a really big portion of Kent Hovind's life. We've gone through his roots in his early school years. We've went through what got him into ministry, his letters to the editor. We've discussed what back and forth caused the conflict and eye raise of the IRS. We understand it was most likely Rebecca Horton who turned him in so she could acquire some of his property. We've gone over all sorts of reasons to believe that the federal government completely hosed Kent Hovind and put him away unjustly, and the jury is still out on whether or not it is connected to one of the largest pedophile rings in the United States that goes all the way up to Jeffrey Epstein. And we can't leave out the wives and the situations that brought that about. We can't go over the bizarre, weird slanders that Mark Stoney and the gang have perpetrated. And we have gone over segments of Kent Hovind's character that point to him being an honorable man. So, after evaluating all the evidence, after watching the other 4 films, the question we have to ask is, who is Kent Hovind?
What do we got there, Joseph? Turned down for what? I don't know.
I think the best way to answer that is to ask Kent himself, but also a good way to do that is to ask those who have known Kent Hovind for most of his life and those who work with Kent Hovind to this day. That's what I want to do in this episode. I want to walk you through all the bizarre claims. I want to have you hear from the workers' mouths themselves about the claims of this beautiful ministry being a pedophile ring, about this ministry being a prostitution ring, about this ministry being a murder house where people go to disappear, all the bizarre claims. We want to use these eyewitness testimonies to disprove that silliness once and for all, to point light that Mark Stoney and Cindy Lincoln and the likes of them are mentally insane, and they are not to be taken seriously, that they are bitter, hate-filled people who are both on the verge of mental breakdowns, and they can't be trusted as credible sources. And the majority of the people who know them personally know this about them. Let's dig in, and I'm hoping by the end of this episode, you'll get a good grasp of who Kent Hovind is. Let's go. All right, so we are recording, and you can start by telling us your name and how long you've been in ministry.
Okay, well, my name's Kent Hovind. My wife Sandra. I've been in the ministry, I got saved 55 years ago. Went right off to Bible college after high school and ended up getting ordained, and 50 years ago this May. I've been a Baptist preacher 50 years. I started the ministry of creation science evangelism in 1989. So that's been, 200 years ago?
34 years ago, because I was born that year. It was a great year. All right. And did your ministry start in the north, and then you moved to Pensacola?
No, I was teaching school in a couple different places and pastoring different churches. I started off in Illinois, went to Texas for 5 years, and then to California for 3 years, and then Pensacola, Florida, in January of '89. And I started the ministry really by starting to fight, over creation, evolution. There was an article in the newspaper that came out that said dinosaur bones found in Montana from 80 million years ago. And I wrote my first ever letter to the editor. I said, I was brand new in town, Pensacola, didn't know a soul. I said, look, these bones they found are from one that drowned in the flood. The world is not millions of years old. Dinosaurs always lived with man. They called them dragons or some other name. And these bones are just something that's left over from the flood of Noah. And I said, reptiles never stop growing. And before the flood, when people lived to be 900, the reptiles would get to be 70 feet long. But that's the dinosaurs. They did not live millions of years ago. They published my letter in the paper and started a war in Pensacola. I didn't realize I was starting to fight, So atheists started writing in, and evolutionists were writing back and forth, and I was writing in. And I was just working construction, putting the wife through college and kids through school. And finally, some students from the University of West Florida called me, and they said, will you come debate one of our professors? We're reading all your letters to the editor in our anthropology class. Would you come have a debate? I said, I've never done a debate in my life, except with my wife, and I lose those every time. But
still does.
Sure. So we did my first ever debate. I'm going to guess it was about March of '89. And about 1,000 people there, maybe 1,200 at the debate at University of West Florida. And a lot of pastors were there to see this. And they right away started saying, will you come to my church and share this information? I'd been studying this for years and years. Creation, evolution stuff is a fascination to me. I was teaching science in high school, And so I never dreamed it would be a full-time ministry, but it kind of evolved into a full-time ministry really fast.
It sounds like it both happened about the same time, but did the ministry start before the debating, or did they kind of at the same time?
The debate caused the ministry to start.
Okay.
I would say. I was already filling my head with information. I guess I didn't realize God was preparing me for this, but it was a passion of mine to study on this topic for years before. Just to be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks to reason.
We're going to be speaking with Dr. Michael Shanlian, who was roommate of Dr. Kent Hovind when he was in college. He can get into where that was all at, and I'm really looking forward to that conversation. Dr. Michael Shanlian, are you with us, sir?
I am.
Right.
I'm live and well.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We all understand that you might have had some sort of a collegiate experience with Dr. Kent Hovind.
I sure did. Back in the early 70s, we went to a small Bible college in Michigan, Midwestern Baptist College, and which has produced some pretty phenomenal men. Dr. Chuck Baldwin, for instance, who you might know of.
Yep. Oh,
yeah. And of course, a lot of great pastors who have gone out and built some really solid churches all throughout America. And so we were all, Dr. Baldwin and Kent and I were all in the same dormitory at the same time. And we had to work a job because we didn't have student aid back in those days, so we were fortunate. We worked at General Motors together, second shift, and so we went to school during the day and went to work at night.
Go ahead, please.
No, not a problem. Yeah, and I have some really good stories about that because, Kent had ADD before it was ever, discovered. And he had a little white Toyota Corolla that we drive around in, and on his steering wheel he had this big clip, and he put his notes on there for his to-do list. Of course, this was before cell phones and all that. And he'd have his to-do list, and he'd be driving down the road, and he'd do something, and he'd mark it off, and he'd do things like, and I don't recommend this, by the way, because you probably get pulled over and get a ticket for it today, but to save time in the morning, rushing off to school and everything, he'd have his electric razor while he's driving down the road shaving. So that's just the kind of guy he was. When he actually put he worked at Truck and Coach, General Motors Truck and Coach in Pontiac, Michigan, and so he worked on the fender line. When the big fenders, these are for medium duty trucks. When the fenders would come down the line, he would take his little clips and he would pound them into the fender. And he had a big desk there with his clips on it, and he'd also always have a book. So in between jobs, he would be reading. And he actually finished school a little ahead of me. I think he doubled up on some classes to finish before I did. So, yeah, that's the kind of guy he is. He doesn't let any grass grow under his feet.
All right. We can start by telling us your name and where do you come from?
Okay, well, my name is Rex Wilson, and I come from Washington State. Kent said on one of his channels, or one of his broadcasts, that you need a AC tech to come down and help out. And so my dad came down for about a week, came back home, started packing all the stuff up, started selling everything. He's like, Rex, I'm moving to Alabama. Okay, so he moved down, and about a year and a half later, I ended up following him behind. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing 2 years here.
So 2 years you've been here total?
Yep.
Before you came to Dinosaur Adventureland, had you heard about Kent Hovind before, or just from your dad?
Just from my dad. Yeah. So it's kind of a rare, amazing thing to see people come in and like, oh, I've been watching you for years, and all kinds of things, and all the people that he knows, and it's definitely. I guess I got a different perspective on who Kent is, and you know, the things he does and what he teaches and everything. And it's there's been quite a few surreal experiences, for sure.
All right, so you can start by telling us your name and who are you?
My name is Joshua Vernon, and I am a child of the Lord, saved by the grace of Jesus Christ through faith, and that is not of myself. I have not earned that, and looking at my past, it's evident that I have not earned that. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for the truth.
All right, so you can start by telling us your name and
Okay.
how you know Dr. Hovind.
Okay. And should I be looking at you?
You can look at me.
Okay. Joseph always yells at me. My name is Sandra Hovind, and I met Kent. He had visited a church, and we got all his VHSs back then, and he's like, copy him and pass them out. So that's what I did. My family fell in love with him. My sisters, my mom. They passed it all out, and that's basically how I met him, his name.
How long have you been following him in total?
That was in the 90s, but at church, all it was is the highlights. Like, we had his DVDs. I didn't know anything about his YouTube channels or what have you. And then the next story I heard is, unfortunately, he went to prison, and that was very sad. So down through the years, just praying for the Kent Hovind that we knew in the videos about that situation. And then the next highlight was when he got out, and then his, went through a divorce and his family situation, and then that was sad. So those are the highlights, but I didn't really follow him. So.
Would you say, from what you've observed over the years, his message and his character's been consistent?
Definitely. Even after the highlights, and then you keep hearing highlights in his life. Yes, that part has been very consistent.
Tell us your name and tell us how you got to DAL, or how long have you been at DAL?
Okay. My name is Jeff Scafidi. I come from Wisconsin, and I've been here at DAL for almost 2 years.
2 years. Okay. How did you first hear about Dinosaur Adventureland?
I saw one of Dr. Hovind's presentations on the internet.
Okay.
And cable TV, actually. And we kept returning to him because we liked what he was saying, and eventually we took a trip, and we were too far down the road from here, so we decided to stop by and visit.
It started with a visit.
It started with a visit.
Okay, Judy Larkin. Myself, I'm from the north.
A Yankee, okay.
A Yankee, yes. True blue, born and bred.
Okay.
Alabama was never on my list of places to go.
That's interesting because you're here now.
I know it. Isn't that weird?
So how did that turn out?
Well, I sold my house. My son and I owned the house together. He lives in New Hampshire. So I told him we need to sell the house because he's renting. It's his house. He can have the money. I had a camper. I said, I'll just go south for the winter. We had between houses, and well, he's still not ready to build yet. So I said, I'll just go south, and I've been watching Doc, his podcasts, and so after COVID, during COVID, my church shut down, but there was a church about an hour away from me that never did. The pastor was an anesthesiologist, and he says it's a weak little virus, and he preached against that. He talked. He was very frank. So I went, and it was a really good church. He teaches Bible. He teaches all, he just goes right through the Bible, just keeps teaching. And they're street preachers, and a lot of times he said, "Do something, hold a sign, do something, whatever." Well, Doc's podcast at the same time he's saying, "If you can't fire the gun, carry the bullets. Do something." So I'm going, okay, God, you want me to do something? So I thought, well, I'll come down here for the winter, like homeless.
A couple months maybe.
Right. That's all I was going to do. I was going to come down in November and stay till April, and leave in April, the beginning of April. And I don't know, Kevin was in the wood shop at that time, and he says, "What can I do to get you to stay?"
We'll start off by you guys can tell us your names and where you're from.
My name is David Whitney, and I'm originally from Philadelphia. And you want to?
I'm Catherine, and I grew up in Iowa in the northwest corner around Sioux City and near the Dakotas a little bit. So some of us of our family went to college in Vermilion, which is South Dakota, across the border. And it was cold there, cold winters because it's getting up toward Minnesota. So.
Yeah. So how long have you guys known Kent Hovind?
Well, I met Kent about 45 years ago at a Stealing the Mind conference in Colorado. And at the time I had just gone through a very painful, hard divorce. And he was so kind to me. I had my children with me. And he gave me everything he had. He gave me his debates, and he gave me his whole series of Dinosaur Adventure tape series, and he was just so kind. And it just melted my heart that somebody, at the time he didn't understand where I was coming from, but he does better now.
Yeah. The same for you?
No, I think, let's see, it was probably, was it 20 years ago at least a little bit. We moved to, around 20 years ago, we moved to where he was born and raised with his family as a youngster, and we met some of his family from there in Peoria, Illinois. And I think I started watching the tapes. Let's see. I'm thinking I might have watched some of the tapes before we moved actually to Peoria. I mean, he's been around for a while.
You can start by telling us your name and how you heard about Dr. Kent Hovind.
All right, I'm Jackson Rowe, and I first heard about Kent Hovind probably in 2007 or 8 from the early days of the YouTube atheist creationist type argument. So that's where I first heard about him.
Okay, so you go far back.
Yeah.
Okay, so back when he was first doing the debates.
Well, he wasn't doing like online debates, but he was being talked about a lot at the time.
Now, an interesting thing, Christians of all shapes and colors come through Dinosaur Adventureland.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little different.
Yeah.
You are not a self-proclaimed Christian.
Yeah, I'm I'm an atheist, basically.
Okay.
Be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks a reason of hope that's in it. And plus teaching is science, kids always ask these questions, so I pretty well developed my theology. The Bible says God made the world in 6 days, and everything in it, to include dinosaurs. And so, yeah, it was the debate is really what sparked it to. It exploded after that. I got it to where I was speaking 900 times a year. Radio programs, TV programs, schools, colleges, preaching almost every night. I was traveling all over the world. I think I got 14 million air miles on the different airlines put together. It was busy.
Yeah,
And if I can interject, just watching his DVDs, God has given him the ability to teach the subject in such an interesting manner that you just can't wait to pop the next one in. So,
Well, that was when I got saved and started reading a lot of the books by Henry Morris and Dwayne Gish and ICR, I thought this is brilliant stuff, and it really is good stuff. However, they're talking over everybody's head. I said, somebody needs to dumb this down where the fourth graders can get it. And so if I have any gifts at all, it's probably the gift of explaining things simply where people get it.
That is a gift, though.
Gift of teaching, yeah.
Did you know him before you met him in college?
I did not. That was my first exposure to him. And then we did get to be friends with his family that lived in Pekin, Illinois, and his parents. And so that was great. But no, this was my first exposure to him. And we just, for whatever reason, we just had some chemistry together, and we clicked, and we just kind of started hanging around each other.
Interesting. I remember when I went to school, and I wasn't a Christian at the time. So I'm asking this question in that regards. When you met Dr. Hovind, when you met Kent Hovind, were you a Christian?
Oh yeah, we were in Bible college.
Okay.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. And what was your first impression? I see him as very bold when it comes to Christ, and very opportunistic when it comes to Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, I would get guys that would grab me and we go down to a local bar. I suspect Kent Hovind is a little different. I'm sure in the grabbing, he probably grabbed you and said, "Okay, let's go out here and let's do this and that and the other for Christ."
Yeah. It was. Back in the 70s, this was during the time of the Jesus People Revolution.
Peace, love, joy, and understanding.
Then
they're done.
And so there was a lot of Christianity. Young people, especially, were more bold, maybe than they are today in some respects. But Kent just had that personality. He loved people, and of course he had some different talents. He can juggle and do magic tricks, and so we'd be driving down the road, and if we passed a bunch of kids playing outside in the schoolyard or in a neighborhood, he'd always pull over and start doing his magic tricks and his juggling. And before you know it, we had a crowd of kids around us. He seems to do his best work when he has kids around him. I guess he's a big kid at heart, and so it was amazing how the kids would just be in amazement at what he could do. And then of course he would weave in the gospel message, and a lot of them came to Christ. And so yeah, he's somebody that's not afraid to confront people with the gospel. So.
Okay. Is there one memorable event that you think our audience ought to hear about that you remember?
That's a great question.
Well, of course it is. I asked it.
You did. I wish I could put my finger on one thing that I could point to and say that was a quintessential experience with Kent. But there were so many, and I guess just the everyday things that I saw in him, his character, his tenacity, his boldness. There was just like every day it was just kind of a new day, and you just never know, what was going to happen at any moment. But I remember one time, kind of a funny moment, when we were out, being in college, we had a curfew, and we had, back then, of course, they don't do this anymore, but we had like a 10-mile rule that you couldn't go any farther than 10 miles from the school. And so one night after church, we decided that we were going to take a little drive. Kent and I and several other people, we had a car full of us, and it was kind of a rainy, foggy night, and we got on the road, and we were talking and laughing, and you lose track of time, and you forget where you are, and before you know it, an hour had gone by, and I thought I was driving, and I thought I knew where I was, but I was lost. We were like in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We were the school's in Pontiac, and Ann Arbor's probably, 40 or 50 miles at least away. So here we are, we're going, oh no, we're going to be in trouble. So we drove back.
Breaking the rules already, huh?
Breaking the rules, my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got back to the school, and then back to the dorm, and of course, we tried to sneak in. Kent and I tried to sneak in, and there's Mr. Bittner, I even remember his name, Reverend Bittner. And he's sitting there in the lobby, looking at his watch, going, "You guys are a little late, aren't you?" We're going, "Oh yeah, we're busted. We got lost." And so we ended up on the discipline committee. We called it DC Donuts and Coffee on Monday morning. We got hauled in for that, and I if I remember correctly, we got some demerit for that little episode.
Why do you think Kent is such a controversial character?
I would say he's controversial because of his how would I say this? He's a real go-getter. You know, he gets things done. He's I wouldn't say rough around the edges, but he'll get his point across. He's constantly go. You know, we got to get this done, we got to get that done, and I mean, if I'm working on a project or something, or we need this, or hey, if we had this would really work out, and he pops on his phone, calls somebody up, and boom, hey, can you get this? Can you do that? And handles it right away. So he's always on the go. He's a little bit he's just motivated, you know. And I think the controversy is the controversial aspect of it is he knows what he wants. He knows what God is asking of him, and he stays focused on that. You know, all the other things that come at him this way or that way, you know, he's like, okay, well, either that's going to be an important thing in my mission that God's given me, or it's not. And most of the time other people will be like, well, that's being inconsiderate, or you need to think of it this way, or you need to act or react this way. And in his motivational, his drive to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish, he's either going to see something and go, yeah, that's what I got to do, or no, that's not what I got to do, and let's move on, because I got so much more to do.
Yeah. On YouTube, there's a lot of claims about Dinosaur Adventureland. It sounds like you may not have heard some of them, but some of the claims are that Dinosaur Adventureland is a pedophile ring.
Wow.
That Dinosaur Adventureland is a sex trafficking prostitution ring.
Wow.
And that there are bodies buried on the property from former volunteers that didn't work out.
Are you serious?
Those are three of the biggest claims on YouTube from the atheist community, along with some disheartened former employees who are just flat out liars.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know about that.
So, I mean, you've only been here for 3 weeks, but 3 weeks is a decent stretch of time. In that time that you have been here, have you observed where they're hiding the pedophiles?
I have not observed that, no.
Okay.
Okay. Wow, I did not. That's... Wow.
So, to your knowledge, there's no pedophile ring here at Dinosaur Adventure.
Not at all. Not at all. I experienced the Holy Spirit here. The Holy Spirit. I experienced a pure faith, a genuine love, and work to be done. You know, there's the will of the Lord, and this place so far, even my experience with watching the guests and seeing how they're doing, how they're liking the Dinosaur Adventureland, and you know, speaking to them in the cafeteria, is that people are being drawn to Jesus Christ by this creation knowledge that God's given to us through the Bible. And Mr. Hovind and his wife and the staff here have faith in the Word of God, and we see that throughout this experience that people can have here. You know, it's fun, it's family and child aimed. As far as, like, if I was a child and I came here, my parents would have trouble with me getting back in the car and leaving. And that's the reality of it. And I think we've got to live in reality as far as, like, I mean, all you have to be is famous and people want to say things against you. You know what I mean?
Now, there's all kinds of crazy accusations on YouTube. I know you've heard the wildest, from Dinosaur Adventureland as a pedophile ring to a sex trafficking ring. You have kids here.
Yes.
Are your kids safe?
Very safe. Right now, my daughter, I don't even know really where she's at. She's 12. But definitely the people here, when you can get a good feel for a person and you live with that person, you know, there's not a shadow of doubt in your mind that you can trust these people. You being one, you know, you're here, you came back. I would trust you with any one of my 7 children or any of my 20 grandchildren. I said 15 plus the 10s, but we started saying 20 together, yeah. I would trust you with any one of my children. Someone might get mad at me for that, but that's my right. I can feel, and it's a genuine intuition. And I feel like the people who are here are that way. Others have children. You see them interact with their children. You get to learn them enough to know if anyone messes with their child, they will be dead. So when you know that a dad is that protective of his child and you live with these people, you learn to trust them.
Yeah.
And I trust the people who are here 100%.
Before you got to Dow, were you familiar with any of the controversies that surrounds Kent Hovind?
I knew Dr. Hovind talked about creation against evolution, but I didn't know it was that much of a controversy because everybody keeps talking about these millions of years and billions of years. You wouldn't know a million years of a hitch in an eye. That's just too long of a time to comprehend and too long of a time to put into the scope of some of the stories.
One of the other claims from the YouTube community is that Dinosaur Adventureland is a pedophile ring. That everywhere you look around here, there's 20 pedophiles just wandering around. Where are the pedophiles?
I wouldn't know anything about that, but I was an abused altar boy from the Roman Catholic Church.
I'm sorry.
So I kind of know what I'm talking about there. And if there was anybody here that was a danger to any of the children that we have here, it would be noticed and they would be taken care of. They would be gone.
Okay, so were you aware of all the many controversies that surround Kent Hovind before
yes.
you came?
I heard them and I thought, oh crap, I'm hearing all this negative stuff. I'm just ready to leave. It's like, crap, what am I going to do now?
Okay, so that was after you got here. You
No,
didn't hear
before I got here.
Oh, wow.
I heard all
And
the
you
crap.
still came.
Well, I thought about it because I didn't know what else to do. I mean, I sold my house. Well,
Yeah.
I can't stay at my daughter's. I mean, I can't stay out. It's going to get cold. I have a camper. I can't stay out in the winter. So I'll well, calm down. I thought, well, you know, I'm just really nervous. I thought, wait a minute, I got a camper. If it's all true and I don't like it, I can just get up and leave. Exactly. So it's like, I'll see. So it took me a while to settle in. It took me about 9 days.
What were some of the weirder claims that you heard about DAL and Kent Hovind before you came?
The weirder ones?
Or the more concerning ones to
Yeah,
you?
well, the one I heard was the about Cindy. But here, this wasn't. I wasn't so disturbed about that because I heard that tape when she was screaming, and my neighbor across the road, they used to fight all the time. And a couple of times I'd hear her out there doing that exact same scream. Oh, no, you're. One time I called the sheriff because I said, I think she's hurt. She was home alone. She said her husband beat her up. Her husband was in Canada at the time. Right, so I heard that same fakey kind of, so I said, she's faking it. You know, it's like, whatever. That one didn't bother me so much.
So there are some really bizarre claims from the atheist communities on YouTube. The 3 craziest ones are that Dinosaur Adventureland is a pedophile ring, that it's a sex trafficking ring, and that there are dead bodies buried all over the place. So we'll go through those, I know. We'll go through them one at a time. We'll start with the pedophile ring one. You guys have been here countless times over the years. Have you ever observed a surplus of pedophiles stalking children?
No, we've never seen any.
Even once?
No. There's young people that come and go, and some we didn't know, the young men, and of course he tries to screen them best he can. But if there's ever any problem, he has to send them away. He has always sent them away if they continue on with either drugs or drinking or, let's see, you have to be married if you can't just live together here under the, you know, that's not going to work. So he sends them away when that, you know, if they won't obey the rules. So pedophile is right along that line, that he would send them away if it was no. So he tries to screen them, like I said, best he can when they come. But then if anything becomes even a question of it, then if they're caught not doing any of the rules, he'll send them away.
Now, Kent is a kind of an enigma. He's on that high-level creation status with Ken Ham and the rest of them, but he lives very differently. Could you describe kind of how Kent lives a more humble way than some of the other creationists?
Well, I would have to say first off, I don't know what the other creationists live like. You can see the fruits that they bear and the things that they've accomplished and worked with, but I know that every day, I see Ken, I see what he does, and I've been able to help him out with a lot of projects, and he's not showy, he doesn't have that, hey, we need this big thing or we need this really expensive thing. It's let's build this ministry up, and he's not afraid to get out there and do the work, get his hands dirty, he's always, showing up with bandages and talking about, yeah, I was doing this, and he'll get up in that man lift, 20, 30 feet up in the air and start chopping down trees, like, because it just needs to be done. Whatever it is you got to do to get this project done, he's in there and he's doing it.
He's something else.
Yeah.
Well, part of what we want to accomplish through this documentary, me and Ken, is there's so many bad things out there on YouTube about him that are not true. We want this to be the documentary that gives Kent Hovind's perspective, his side of things. It's a very much pro Kent Hovind. I'm very biased and I don't hide it.
Yeah.
So we want to address some of the very, very ridiculous claims on YouTube. The three biggest ones is that Dinosaur Adventureland is a pedophile ring, that there's just pedophiles around every bush, that it's a sex trafficking ring, that there's prostitutes in trailers hidden all over the property, and that there's buried bodies on the property. So we'll go through them one at a time.
Those are still going around, huh?
They'll probably always go around, but that's why it's important for you guys who have been here for 2 years to tell this story.
Yeah.
So for the first one, the pedophile ring, there's a pedophile behind every bush. I've been here multiple times over the past 4 years. I've failed to find them, but you live here, and for 2 years. So you tell me, where are you guys hiding the pedophiles?
They're not here at DAL, I think that one really comes from, and it's a bit of a difficult scenario, situation.
You don't have to name drop or anything.
No, but there's definitely none of that going around, and
if you had kids, would they be safe here?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I would, if I had my own kids and they were here, or I got little cousins. Eventually, that might make their way over here. But yeah, you can let them run around anywhere. There's the obvious. Kids are going to be kids, and they might
roll
go
down a
jumping off
hill and
something.
get kind of hurt. Yeah,
Right.
Unpreventable things, life.
Yeah, that can happen anywhere. But no, there's definitely not people here that are dangerous, per se.
So with the volunteers that leave that aren't happy, we'll take like Mark. He makes up very bizarre claims. You don't have time to address them all today, but I'll pick out the craziest. The Dinosaur Adventureland is a sex trafficking ring. Now personally, I've been here multiple times through the years.
Okay.
The biggest complaint is that there are no females here.
Correct.
I guess my question is, where are all the prostitutes hiding?
We can't tell you, that's top secret. No. Guys like him drive me crazy because we took care of him, we fed him and housed him while he worked here, but as soon as he left, he turned on me. Like, why? I don't understand. There's no reason for that. And make up the craziest stories. Some of the rumors going around amaze me. Like, what? And almost always it's the people who've never been here and have never talked to me. They believe them and pass them on. Well, Jesus had the same problem. I mean, Paul had the same problem in Acts 28. When he finally got to Rome as a prisoner, he asked the people in Acts chapter 28, he said, hey, have you heard about the Christian movement and what's going on with the Messiah coming? They said, all we've heard is everywhere it is spoken against. Acts 28. What? So I can understand how they feel. It bothers me a little bit, but I'm not going to try to go around and defend myself against every single rumor. It's their job. If they want to believe it, they can believe it. A few times in the Bible, Jesus had to stop and defend himself. Sometimes the disciples did. But I'm too busy fighting a different war. I'm after the evolution philosophy. Right now, today, billions of children are being taught evolution. They're being taught about the geologic column, which does not exist anywhere in the world. There are 40 or 50 basic lies in every textbook that are being taught, and nobody's fighting against it. I will, even if I got to go by myself. I'll get my sling and 5 stones and go knock them in the head.
If Mark was to call you and truly repent like I did, would you forgive him?
I would, but I would say, no, Mark, you gotta, one preacher was, I think it was John R. Rice. This lady was spreading all kinds of evil rumors about a famous preacher. I'll say it was John R. Rice. And she said, oh, Pastor, I'm so sorry. Would you please forgive me? He said, well, come with me for a minute. He took a feather pillow. They went up on a hill on a windy day. He tore the pillow open and scattered the feathers out. They went everywhere. He said, now, you pick them all up. I can't do that. They're everywhere. He said, yeah, the damage you've done is everywhere. The damage, Mark would have to take his channel down. He'd have to do a repent. I repent on my channel and truly repent. Yeah, I would forgive him. But the damage he's done, he's turned people away from watching my videos, and it's not because it's me, it's the information that'll change lives. And there's been several others. Their whole goal, there's a talk show one time, this guy had 3 women on there going to win $1 million or $5 million, whatever it was. He said to the women, he said, now, if you win this money, what are you going to do? The first one said, I'm going to buy a bunch of real estate, and go into business. The second one said, I'm going to travel all over the world, Third one said, I'm going to spend every dime trying to destroy my husband and his business. I've got something like that. They won't be. I asked one of them just a few months ago, I said, if you do succeed in destroying me, what does that do for you? What does that do for the cause of Christ? Do you ever stop and think, what are you trying to accomplish here?
Have they ever answered you?
No. It's usually a jealousy. You've got it, I want it, and I can't have it. Therefore, I'm going to tear you down. Make them look better.
Another claim here, not from here, but from YouTube, is that Dinosaur Adventureland, in addition to a pedophile ring, is a huge prostitution, sex trafficking ring. I've scarcely seen a single female around here. Where are you guys hiding the prostitutes?
Well, let's see. We got a pile of tires over here. Maybe they're hiding over there. There's some wood scrap over here. We have 140 acres here of an old abandoned gravel pit. If there's anything hidden here, it doesn't stay hidden for long. If there are any women here, most of them are working. And not the work that you're thinking about. They're doing construction jobs or maintenance. If there's any bad vibes of this place, there's not enough women here. We have the women do it. We have 2 of them specifically. Dwayne and Bobby, they take care of all the cabins. They take care of all the visitors that they come here to stay. They do all the cleaning. We have a sort of different cooks that do the cooking here.
And both of those ladies are married.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, I think all the younger females here are married. That's something Kent's big about. You get here, get married.
Right, and there's a couple widows here. There just isn't.
Where would you think that rumor even came from? Because I've been here multiple times through the years. I've never seen a surplus of single females, ever.
Either somebody that they came here and didn't get what they wanted, came here and didn't see what they liked. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what somebody's version of coming here for. I came here to work and help Dr. Hovind in my construction field, and I do what I can.
The other claim was that it's a sex trafficking ring, that there's just prostitutes hiding behind every bush. I've been here many times over the years.
Yeah.
My question for you is, where are you hiding the hookers?
Okay. I heard they're in a trailer somewhere. I don't know.
Right.
I haven't found the trailer yet, I guess.
I mean, one of the biggest complaints I've seen over the years of the place from the volunteers is that there's an extreme lack of single young ladies.
Yes, that's exactly the way it is. And unfortunately, people have called for the FBI or whoever on that matter. And for some reason, after they watched and set up cameras and did whatever they had to do to make sure this wasn't that type of place, they met with my husband and said, just to let you know, you have been watched. We've been watching you. He said, but there's no legitimate anything to all of this, nothing. They said, in fact, trafficking, you don't even get any traffic. So they sat
Two cars.
Sat at the four-way. There's no traffic. As far as women, like you said, they're few and far between. And typically when a lady does move in here, it's not long before she's married.
Right.
They wouldn't be single naturally for that long. So
right.
I think the rumors, I don't even know where that one started. I don't know how that one even could have got started with not having women here. So
I mean, it seemed like a very odd claim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so too. The human trafficking claim that Dinosaur Adventureland fronts prostitution rings. I've been here multiple times through the years. One of the complaints from young men here is that there's not enough single young women to marry. You guys have been here multiple times. Have you ever observed anything like that?
No, we've never. Like I said, it goes under the rural category. You have to be married if you're going to live. You're not going to live together and still be here at this camp. So the point of the rules is that, people will come and go, but if they obey everything, there's not a problem. If you're going to act in a godly manner, that's what the rules state, And so there's nothing devious or secretive or, that somebody's trying to hide something. That's what the media does to make you think that people are bad.
Yeah.
But we've always seen that the rules have been followed. And if anybody does seem weird, they would be, watched, if nothing else. I personally don't remember seeing anybody that was that way.
The only thing I can remember, there was a guy named Steve who did
the tech guy.
The tech guy, and he had a younger fellow with him or something, and there was no proof, but there was, it just was an appearance of evil. And that guy's gone, if I understand. He ain't here anymore.
Yep, been gone for a while.
Yeah.
So it's something that any school would do this. They have their rules, and if there's something even questionable, they deal with it. I don't care if you're Bob Jones or I don't care, what school it is. So this to me is one of the best schools possible because he is so good about educating even to young people.
Mm-hmm. And this is more of like a training ground. Mm-hmm. And once people have been here for a while, it's time for them to move on and get on with their life. And, start another Dinosaur Adventureland somewhere else.
Well, the other claim, one of the other two claims...
How ridiculous is that?
It's pretty ridiculous. The other claim is that it's a sex trafficking prostitution ring. Now, I've been here many, many, many times over the years, unexpected and expected, and I have to say I have never seen a surplus of females here. It's kind of the only downfall of Dinosaur Adventureland. There's not enough girls. But in your perspective, you've been here for 3 weeks. Where are they hiding the prostitutes?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen any prostitutes.
Do you feel like you may have ran across one or two while you were here?
I have not. Most of the women here are married.
Right.
So, there's that. And, I think that most people are intelligent and they know that sex trafficking rings are, they're usually not hidden by a Christian. Actually, if they really want to take on the good work and the worthwhile attack and battle against sex trafficking, they ought to actually hit the people that do sex trafficking.
That'll never happen, but I agree with you.
I'm pretty sure the same people that would say there's sex trafficking going on here, would fear even speaking about it to the people that are really doing it.
100% agree. So the other one of the two big claims was the prostitution ring, that there are just endless amounts of prostitutes roaming the property here. Again, I've been here many times through the years as a married person, but also as a single person.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think I would have noticed an abundance of single ladies walking around.
Right.
You were here a year and a half before you found a wife.
Yep.
Where are you guys hiding the hookers? Where are the prostitutes?
Right. Well, I haven't seen them. I've been over every inch of this property multiple times, and there's nothing like that around.
As Jeff from the lumber department said, maybe they were hiding under the tires.
Right. Yeah. Because they're definitely tired.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure where something like that would come about. You know, like I said, you know, Doc's always willing to give people who need help the help that we can without being ourselves being taken advantage of. So I wouldn't know if a prostitute had come, stayed for a little bit, and then left.
Well, that's not the claim that it was a prostitute. The claim is bizarre. It's that it's like a truckload of prostitutes, which you would think you would notice.
Yeah. You would notice something like that.
Around here.
There definitely isn't, man. And like I said, I've been here a long time, and there's never, the bus has never stopped in.
I mean, one of the biggest complaints from the men here is that they need more ladies to marry.
Yeah, well, yeah, like you said, man, I was here a year and a half. I mean, I did, you know, it's a little bit different, but definitely, one thing that I do admire is Doc doesn't allow, if you're not married, you're not going to stay in the same room together, which is an admirable thing, you know. I mean, and there's been guests that have come that aren't married, and Doc's like, I'm sorry, but this is our beliefs. This is my ministry. You know, we're definitely going to accommodate you, but you guys need to sleep separately.
Do you think this place, with all the drama and the rumors, do you think it's done more harm or good?
You know what? My personal opinion is Doc needs to stop answering to it. Just needs to let it go, because the rumors will fly all over the place, and then if there's no reaction, it'll die down. And as soon as the fires start going out, he fans those flames again. If he just back off and just ignore, he says, well, what should I do? I understand that. Don't say anything, just let it go. You know, I mean, those do hurt.
I think that Kent Hovind is his own best friend, but he can be his own worst enemy.
Yes, he is.
It's just like you said. He's so great at the creation stuff, and when he stays on point and just lets the drama go in one ear and out the other, he wins. But when we stop and address it, he makes it bigger.
He makes it bigger, yes, exactly. And I kind of wish that next time he asks, what should I do? I say, stop talking! Stop saying anything! Every time I speak out like that, I'm thinking, okay, I better start packing up my camper, because I'm going to be told to leave.
Is this kind of, like, in your opinion, I know you can't speak for others, but is that sort of the sentiment of all the workers, all the volunteers here?
Of him, I've heard other people say...
Don't address it!
Yeah, I've heard other people say, just let go.
What do you want? What would you like to have those listening in our show today? What would you, if one thing they could take from a conversation with you, what would that one thing be that you would want them, or two things, or maybe a set of characteristics that you would like to have people know that definitely describe Kent Hovind?
Okay. Well, he's certainly a man of character and a man of his word, and I always appreciate that. I surround myself with people like that. I think that's very important. He has a love for the Lord that is, very, very rare. he when he commits to something, he commits, 110%. I think that another thing is that he's very humble. And really, if you listen to him when he does his debates and things and his teachings, he's very self-effacing. He makes jokes about himself. Because he realizes that, he's just a sinner like everyone else. I think sometimes when you have the effective ministry as he's had throughout the years, some people tend to kind of put you up on his pedestal a little bit, and that's the farthest thing from Kent's mind. He doesn't want that. He wants all the glory to go to God, and so he's very humble. And it just bothers me when I read all the things that have been written about him that make him sound like he's a tyrant, he's out for money and all that. And I think that's the other thing that I wanted to address also about his view of finances. Kent can squeeze a penny harder than anybody that I know. In fact, when you watch his videos, the suits that he wears are the suits that he had in college. And he doesn't spend money on clothes, he doesn't really spend money on himself. When he has a little extra money, it all goes into purchasing something for ministry or to help other people. He never buys new cars. He buys old cars and fixes them up. He builds his own houses. Kent Hovind was not in ministry for money. That's the farthest thing from his mind. Now, his ministry took in a lot of money, but but he had a lot of employees that he had to take care of, and he never spent money on himself. And I think that's a huge, huge misconception that people have. And they, of course, a lot of them think he's a tax cheat. I won't get into that, but I'm just saying that money is not his primary motivation like it is for so many guys. He's not looking at this as a career. He's looking at it as he just wants to serve.
He doesn't care about things for himself. He does not have anything that he collects. There's nothing that is of great care to him. He's not sentimental with things of the past. He doesn't have to have. His biggest dream is probably to have the biggest dinosaur in the world on the property. So not vacations and traveling and rich clothing or jewelry or watches. I think his deepest desire is the biggest dinosaur in the world.
I think you're right. I love that about him.
Yeah.
His generosity, is it sincere? Is it the same when people aren't looking?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, I was asleep. And most of the time when he stops and helps people, he'll say, hey, I'm coming home with, some gentleman. He was walking with a cane and his car broke down. That's when no one's looking. That is the Kent Hovind. Sometimes I want to get clips of him doing stuff like that, but you're not thinking of it in the moment. Or even feeding squirrels. I keep thinking, one morning I'm going to get up there and while he's talking to squirrels, I'm going to catch this because nobody will believe that the great Kent Hovind, who's got this general mentality, who has maybe sometimes a bad picture from other people, online, maybe they think that he's too strict or something, but to see this soft, funny side. And Kent wants nothing but to make people laugh. I've never laughed so much in my life. I wake up laughing. He doesn't stop, and it happens all day long, and then at night we go to bed laughing. It's his job after we watch some general stuff he wants to watch something funny. Yeah. Funny goats, funny babies, it doesn't matter. So when we are out, he will hand people cards and he jokes with them everywhere we go. It's in his heart to make people laugh.
So my next two questions, it's kind of a part A and part B, but I tell you both parts ahead of time so you kind of get the context.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you what Kent Hovind's biggest flaw is.
Okay.
His shortcoming as a man, followed by his greatest attribute. And the reason I ask those two questions is because I want to draw a comparison over his worst flaw and how overshadowed it is by his best attribute, is why I ask the two questions.
Okay.
So my first question here is, what is Kent Hovind's biggest flaw as a person in your eyes?
Okay, so to answer this question, first I have to say that I am not God.
Mm-hmm.
I am not Kent Hovind. I'm not his wife. I'm not his child. I first have to say that I actually don't know him as well as those people do. and they would be better equipped to answer this. Now, what I've observed, I'd have to say that, and please put that first part in there.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Because I really don't have a right to answer this.
I know.
You know. So, in my opinion, maybe his biggest flaw would be concentrating too much on the information and the knowledge. Okay? Instead of the heart of the matter. Okay? Now, which is weird, because the flip side of that, his biggest attribute, is he concentrates on the knowledge and the information.
That's his biggest attribute to you.
Absolutely.
So that is his hindrance, but also his shield and his sword.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, I've had
without that, there'd be no ministry.
I've had a lot of good answers doing these interviews. Like most people, their biggest flaw for Kent is not enough time. He doesn't have enough time. He needs 30 hours in a day and he only has 24. That's what most people's complaint has been. And the biggest attribute...
I think that would be more of a complaint to God.
Fair, yeah. And then his biggest attribute has just been all over the board. It's his kindness, his generosity, his sincerity. I mean, the list goes on and on. So you gave a really unique answer because the thing that is his biggest flaw in your eyes is his greatest strength. So that's pretty cool. It kind of goes to show the dynamic of mankind, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
That's cool. Right on.
I like it.
Right on, thanks.
Let's say you spend 5 years here.
Okay.
And then God calls you on to other ministry. Because like you explained, that's what we're supposed to do. We get renewed, we go back out into the world.
Sure.
Let's say 5 years from now, God says, hey, it's your turn. And you look back at your time here at Dinosaur Adventureland, was it worth it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, it is. It's always worth it. Yes. With the Lord, it's always worth it.
For people who are out there, like in the YouTube community, and they may have had it pressed upon their heart by Jesus to come here and volunteer, but they've also heard some of the crazy claims that I talked to you about earlier. What would you say to those people who are on the fence, who want to come find out for themselves, but they're scared? What would you tell them?
You know, I would say that don't believe everything you hear. And if you do, I feel sorry for you. Yeah, I think we've learned that, whether believers or not. I think we've learned that from the world. You know, you can't really believe everything you hear. Jesus says things like, he who has ears, let him hear. If you want to come to Dinosaur Adventureland, come. If you don't. Be led by the Spirit. You know, be led by investigation. You know, be led by this mystery that God has put in the heart of all mankind. You know, who is He? I've heard and learned something from Kent Hovind and this park and the people that work here, people that volunteer their time here. At least 3 or 4 things every single day. You know, and if I was a little bit smarter, I might learn more. But I can only intake so much of these. They're more like revelations than they are, you know, something to recite or put down on a piece of paper. They stick with you.
I have to say, I've experienced that here also, more so than any other place I've ever been.
Yeah.
Personal revelation.
Yeah.
There's something very holy about this place.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I mean, half of YouTube thinks Kent Hovind is the devil himself. The other half thinks he's a super saint. You guys have known him for a long time. Who's Kent Hovind?
He's not perfect, none of us are. But he's been faithful, like I said, and I think the reason that the mainline media doesn't like him is kind of like that movie, The Matrix. He breaks the matrix, and he shows people the way to, I think there was like red pills.
Red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, something like that. But he kind of helps people see that, look at the world from a different perspective. And we need to see the world from God's perspective and not just our perspective. And we need to understand truth as being Jesus Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And truth is three-dimensional. It's just not one person's point of view. That's why the Bible says in the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, let the person be condemned.
Half the internet thinks Dr. Hovind is a super saint, and the other half thinks he's Satan himself. You've been here for 2 years. Who's Kent Hovind?
Kent Hovind is a very generous man. He has a lot of good ideas, and a lot of times it's hard to get those ideas continued, much less started. And so he works with the people that stop by here to visit, stop by to help. And most of the people that do come here are a great help. There's a few that are a lot less helpful than others, but there are a lot of helpful people, and it just surprises me how many people continually keep stopping by. And I, like I said, I do what I can to help them, and we try to get the jobs done.
I want to try to paint a contrast, because you know this is all about Kent Hovind. I'm going to ask you what his best quality is, but first I want to ask you, in your opinion, what is one of his bigger, less qualities?
Let's see. He puts a lot of trust in people that whether or not they can do the job or not. If somebody says that they can do something, he believes them and lets them go at it.
He's trusting.
He's very trusting, a lot more than I am. And he has patience. I couldn't do some of the things that he does. I don't have that kind of patience.
Okay. What do you think his best quality is?
His vision. He's always looking ahead to see what else can be done after this is done, after this is done. And he keeps moving on, he never stops.
Let's say that the Holy Spirit led you to leave tomorrow, you know, not on bad terms, but just to move on to whatever's next for you in life. And you look back at your 2 years here, or say it's 5 years by then, was it worth it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was probably more days I could have worked longer, harder, maybe got something more done. But I've been very satisfied with the things that I've done here, and I've helped a lot of people here. I've helped a lot of people work here. I've helped a lot of people come out of their shells. A lot of people come here depressed, and I've tried, hopefully I lightened up their day. I don't have one bad thing to say about this place at all.
For people who are out there and they're interested in coming, and then they're doing research and they come across some of these bizarre claims, and you know, if you don't know Kent Hovind, you're just going off of what you've heard. For those people who are on the fence but they want to come to this place, what would you say to them?
If there was some way that you could contact some of the people that have been here, not just the naysayers or bad talkers, talk to some of the people that have worked here that have a positive experience. There's a lot of good people that stop by here and they put in their 2 cents worth, and they stay for 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, and just enjoy working here. There's a lot of things we need to get done here, and it's going to get done.
My question, okay, so half of YouTube thinks Kent Hovind is a saint. Mm-hmm. The other half thinks he's Satan. Mm-hmm. Where do you fall? Who is Kent Hovind?
I mean, I don't think he's Satan. And I don't know if he's a saint, but he seems like a decent guy to me. He does, so. Yeah.
How long do you think you've known him personally, with your back and forth with the debates?
It's been a couple years.
You think his character has been pretty consistent through that time?
Yeah, I think so. He's much nicer in person. So.
He is nice.
I mean, he's not rude during the debates, but he's nice in person.
He's confident during the debates. Yeah. I think you're right. When you meet him in person, it's a little more Kent Hovind the guy, and less Kent Hovind the YouTube personality.
He'll still make jokes like, "Hey, it's hard to believe that all came from a dot." To me, but you know.
That's good fun though. Yeah, it's been out of love. taking on that role of camp mom, and you do a great job at it.
Thank you.
You're very nurturing, but I know that also means you get close to people.
Yes.
And you know, Dinosaur Adventureland was designed, it's a theme
Yes.
park, it's a creation science center,
Yes.
but it's also like discipleship training. You
Sure.
get trained up and then you move on.
Sure.
When people do move on, how does that impact you, like emotionally?
It does. Naturally, you know, you as an example, I do love you. I kind of take on certain people a little closer naturally. You are going to always have a special spot in my heart. The young atheist that's here right now, he reminds me of my other son, Nathaniel. So I will continue to pray for him. He'll never know I'm praying for him, but I will always pray for him until he gets saved. So the way I look at it though, Stephen, is my heart is always hurt for children that needed to be adopted as older children. A 17-year-old boy who's gonna turn 18 and he will never get his forever home.
Yeah.
Versus the baby that will be adopted. So when I would watch shows on adoption, it was the 17-year-old that hurt my heart way more than the little babies. So I feel like that is what's going on here. I feel like when I have a bond, it's going to be connected forever and someone can always come home. So even if they move on or they're asked to move on, they know they can always come back Christmas, Thanksgiving. So I'll always get to be camp mom to these people.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one question I ask everybody, it's a two-parter, and I'll go ahead and give you the questions and I'll give you what everybody's answer has been.
Sure.
I ask everyone what Ken's biggest flaw is in their opinion.
Okay.
Their biggest flaw is almost consistent. It's
Okay.
that he needs 30 hours in a day and he's only got 24. It's trying to get 5 minutes with him because he stays so busy. And that's not a bad flaw to have.
Sure.
And his greatest attribute has been all over the board. It's his generosity, his kindness, his long suffering. In your opinion, what's Ken's flaw as a human?
I would think what he thinks of himself. I think he knows he probably doesn't compliment enough and recognize people enough. So as his wife, that's one area I wish I could help him more in. I tried. When I first got married to him, I thought, you know, we do need to have somebody that you recognize once a week.
Yeah.
I feel like that goes a long way. And it does, go alongside of not having enough time, because if you had enough time with Kent Hovind when he comes and not seeing him so busy, it would fit hand in hand if he made time and complimented. So it's probably along the same lines. As far as his best attribute, for me, he's just a very loving man. He's very generous, so the generous would go along with that. He's just got a soft side to him. He's got a very hard side, very tough, very good leadership skills. So I would say generous was a good one.
Yeah, that was pretty consistent across the board. He's probably the only man I've ever met of his status that makes as much as he does on his intellectual property, that has less money in his wallet right now than I do.
Right. He doesn't, money, other than having the operations of the ministry, money is irrelevant to him.
Yeah.
I have seen him just give it away, like, honestly, like it
like he hates it.
To me, I was shocked by that. When he married me, while we met, he did let me know. He says, I don't have any money, and I didn't care. I had a home. He said we could give it to the children. That's exactly what we did. He doesn't care about things for himself. He does not.
One question, it's a two-parter I ask everyone. And I'll go ahead and I'll give you both parts, and then I'll tell you what everyone else's answers were, just so it doesn't seem like a gotcha, because it's not.
Okay.
And I'll edit that part out.
Okay.
So I want you to tell me what you think Ken Hovind's biggest flaw is, and then in contrast, I want you to tell me what his greatest attribute is. And for the flaw, almost everyone has been the same across the board. It's his time. He needs 30 hours in a day, and he's only got 24. Or just being able to get 5 minutes with him because he's so focused on everything is almost impossible. That's been the complaint, that he doesn't have enough time in a day. His greatest attribute has been all over the place. It's his kindness, his generosity, his leadership, his intelligence, like it's off the board.
Right.
So from your perspective, As the human Kent Hovind, what's Kent's biggest flaw?
Oh, I would say Kent's biggest flaw. That's a hard one to measure because there can be so many different aspects,
and you respect him so much, you don't want to point out a flaw.
Right. So I mean, there's things, that I disagree with, but on the same hand, this is his dream. This has been his life's mission here. He's been doing it for 30 plus years, and he's been building it, and that's something that always has to come into the equation. That, like, look at what he's done. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his intelligence and his motivation and those things. So I mean, like, to say put a this is his flaw would be just a personal, between him and I.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to narrow it down to something, because
I respect that.
Yeah.
Could you tell me his greatest attribute, his best quality?
His ability to be able to see the spiritual lesson in anything. He can, like, go into a shoestring or something, like, you gotta have both ends and tie together and get you closer to God, or however he does it.
He'll do it. Yeah.
He will, and it's amazing. Yeah. So I definitely say that's a good gift for sure. There's the obvious intelligence and everything. Everybody sees that, or hopefully they do. It's one thing I definitely noticed is his ability to explain everything in kind of a scientific point of view, but he's also really able to simplify things. A lot of things. It's like, wow, okay, that makes a lot of sense. He'll give you this little bit of information, and you can go with it, and you do a little bit of digging on your own, and it's like, okay, yeah, man, that's a really simple way to place it, and gives you those little seeds to go out and find something on your own.
Yeah.
And it's
half of YouTube thinks Kent Hovind is the devil himself. The other half thinks he's a super saint. You guys have known him for a long time. Who's Kent Hovind?
He's not perfect, none of us are. But he's been faithful, like I said, and I think the reason that the mainline media doesn't like him is kind of like that movie, The Matrix. He breaks the matrix, and he shows people the way to, I think there was like red pills.
Red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, something like that. But he kind of helps people see that, look at the world from a different perspective. And we need to see the world from God's perspective, and not just our perspective. And we need to understand truth as being Jesus Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And truth is three-dimensional. It's just not one person's point of view. That's why the Bible says in the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a person be condemned.
So the purpose behind the documentary, I gave you my background in the Chow Hall. I was a volunteer here. I left here on less than good terms. I turned against Kent Hovind. I tried to cause him a lot of damage. I realized I was wrong. I repented. He forgave me. Now we're trying to undo some of that. So I thank you guys for doing this for me.
We've always been loyal to Doc, and he's been worthy of our loyalty. And my children have watched his tapes over and over and over, and we've watched it countless times and learned something new every time.
Yeah,
it's just great.
If I'm ever sad about the way the condition of the world, I'll listen to his tapes on back, and it's like, yay, Jesus is going to win. God's going to win.
He's a good example to point to of like a modern Job. Whenever I feel bad about what I'm going through, I'm like, but I'm not Kent Hovind. I didn't go through all that.
That's true.
His attitude helps us to keep the right attitude in life. That his faith is strong, and it helps us to be that way. And it's nice to know your testimony that.
It's like the Bible says, God doesn't give us a temptation that we can't withstand. And Kent has a tremendous, resiliency and the ability to take what God's dished out to him. Maybe you and I couldn't take it, but Kent's got a tremendously strong spirit and a strong loyalty to the scriptures and to Christ.
And another thing that we all have to admit is the fact that through everything, his ups and downs, what he's gone through, like you said, with the prisons thing, he was accused wrongly, and that God's always blessed him, and he's still blessing him, you know, even now.
Yeah.
He's blessing his ministry, and he's blessing him. That's another testimony for people that they have to admit that God is with them.
Hey, he doesn't charge. People come here for free. He feeds them. And a lot of young families who couldn't afford to pay for Disneyland can come here and get a Christian education.
Really, they can, yeah.
We've had kids say they like this better than Disney World.
Well, if I could ask you one more thing. Let's say tomorrow you wake up, the Holy Spirit says, your time here is done, time to go home, the next thing. Looking back on your experience here and your time, was it worth it?
Yes, very much so.
You didn't hesitate?
No. I learned a lot, I grew a lot.
Spiritually?
Every which way, yeah. Plus, I learned to get along with people I never would have socialized with in the real world. That's kind of weird for me. You know, I mean, all these people, I have a squeaky clean background. All these people thought I just got out of jail. I was in for drugs. I was in for stealing. Going, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That kind of thing. It's kind of weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
DAL has that way, it kind of really does. It dissolves race and gender and background. Like, you're just here to serve God.
Exactly. And that's very new for me. It's amazing. You know, it really is. I'm not, you know, I don't know the word I want, you know, but that's truthfully how I feel. You know, it has been a wonderful experience. I would do it again.
Well, and there's going to be, I would imagine, a lot of people that see this documentary, and, you know, some of them may be on the fence like you were at one point. Should I go? I've heard things.
Well, it still will be tomorrow. I was like, maybe I should pack up. You know, it's every day.
But if one of them who were on the fence, they wanted to come and serve, but, you know, there's all these rumors, like, and they called you on the phone and said, hey, should I?
Yes. I would say yes. As long as you're not homeless, I'm just getting off drugs or looking for an old home.
I've got another question for you.
Yeah.
And if I used to be executive recruiter, a headhunter, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm an employer, why would I want to hire Kent Hovind in my organization? What's he going to bring?
I think
I'm a church. Let's start with that.
Sure. I think passion, excuse me, a passion would be one of the things on the top of my list, because whatever he does it with passion. He does it with all of his might, and I think that's certainly important in today's world. And of course, he has passion about the right things. He loves people, and he wants people to come to Christ. And so you won't have, and number two would be he's very industrious, and he's a hard worker. So I think those are the two top things that any church would love to have in a pastor or a leader.
Okay. Do you think that maybe he's a little too aggressive, a little too pushy?
Well, you know, and I was going to mention something about that. I'm glad you asked it, so it kind of segued into it because I didn't want to come across maybe in a negative way. But one of the things that you find when you study leaders and leadership principles, you'll discover that people like Kent, who are very accomplished and driven, tend to be, I'm going to be really kind and use the term hard-headed. When they get something in their mind and they believe that they're right, they don't back down. You know, it's like a dog on a bone. He's not going to give it up. And I think if we could say that Kent has a blind spot, that's probably it, because we all have them, by the way. I'm not just picking on Kent. But you know, he's mellowed over the years, and now even today, he admits that maybe he could have done things differently, or he's adopted a theology maybe that he's discovered that isn't quite right. I know he's changed his mind on prophecy and that kind of thing. And so he is open to listen to other people. He's not closed-minded, but you better have your ducks in a row to be able to show him where he's wrong.
Oh, and there's a lot of atheists out there that realize that the hard way.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it works both ways, it's the two-edged sword. And one thing you're going to get with Kent is you're going to get somebody that's going to put his heart into it, and he loves what he does. I don't think Kent has ever really thought he's had a job, because everything he's always done he's loved. And he just loves life, and he loves to be out there serving, and he's probably won more people to Christ in prison than he did outside of prison. So he doesn't let his circumstances get him down. He uses every opportunity to its optimum, and that's really a great thing.
Yeah, I think he's got a little entrepreneur lean in him, and I can associate with that because I am an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs are two things: they're stubborn and they're opinionated. And I can really associate with that, and having that added quality of being able to stop and listen and change your mind, which means get rid of your pride, if you will. That is admirable. That's very difficult to do, especially if you have that entrepreneurial lean, because what drives you is very, very, very strong, and you don't want to look back and go, well, gosh, I did all that and then I was wrong. I can remember something that has stuck with me, and almost everybody I interview, I say the same thing, that when I was down at Pensacola at the court case for Dr. Hovind, I ran into somebody that had him in his in prison, and he was a prison minister, and he just said to me that no matter wherever Kent Hovind is, he's the happiest man in the room. Does that sound like the same Kent Hovind you went to college with?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's the same person, whether he's standing in front of 1,000 people or if it's one-on-one, whether he's in the penthouse or a prison. Kent is the same. I hope I say this right. He's not easily impressed, and nor is he easily discouraged. He has that happy medium of just treating everybody the same and being the same person no matter who he's around, and that is just so refreshing today. And that's what I really appreciate, and why I'm kind of the same way, and so maybe that's why Kent and I just kind of were attracted to each other when we were younger.
So that's who you are in Christ, basically, regardless of where you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, Paul, where Paul said, I've learned to be content in whatever situation I'm at or I'm in, and that's Kent. That's Kent all the way. And one of the things that I think one day I pray will come out, and as his story comes out, and I think it will eventually, because it's been kind of shut down in the mainstream ministry anyway, mainstream media, is just about who Kent is and how he really is with people, just his personality, and it's so rare in leaders today. And I hope his story comes out. Maybe he'll write an autobiography, or somebody will write a biography about him, and those kind of personal things will come out.
Well, it sounds to me like he's an habitual lawbreaker that has no respect for authority. That's a story I'm hearing.
Yeah, of course, that's the way it comes across. And because he's, when you understand our Constitution the way that Kent does,
and he does, yes.
He does. And we've had very few people, because they don't teach it in our schools, unfortunately, anymore. They haven't for 40 years. So we have a generation of young people that don't know the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and what all that means, and what our freedoms are and what they cost us. And Kent does. And so when he just acts as a citizen should, and has every right to, he comes across as a radical. And it's sad. It shows you where our country is today.
With your volunteers, you're very generous. I mean, you go far above and beyond what other ministries would do. So when you have the couple of handful of people that leave, like I did, and turn against you, how does that affect you personally? Does it cut that much deeper?
It hurts, but I usually can see through it and see that, wow, the reason they're doing this is because I pulled out their pacifier, you know. They were freeloading off of us. See, a farmer has something to sell called produce because he produces something.
Mm-hmm.
What do you produce that somebody wants? I produce videos, DVDs, books that help people and people buy them. That's what funds the ministry. So I have asked some of them, what are you producing? You're riding on somebody else's coattail. You go produce something. If you would read all the books that I've read and learn all I've learned and study all I've studied and produce something that people want to hear, yay.
When it comes to creation and evolution, there are other creationists like yourself, but you're still very different. Whereas the other creationists defend creationism, you proactively attack evolution. Are you working on trying to train someone to replace you one day to be proactively attacking and not just a defensive mode?
I think I've already inspired dozens to do that, okay? So I don't have anybody in mind to take my place or anything. I'm not trying to, I could at least probably go 25, 30 more years.
At least.
At least. That I'm gonna live to 100 or die trying. So, I think I've helped quite a few get started.
Yeah, he asked me the same thing, and I just said, you're not replaceable. And
Obviously.
You have taught many people, and they have your DVDs, and we have people like Matt Powell and Steve here and other creationists that come, and they've been inspired by you. I think that's how it's going to go forward. All the people that you've inspired and use your material.
I would hope.
And I said, it's kind of like Elvis. You can't, if you're in that kind of music, you can't replace Elvis. It's just not possible. So you're way more important than Elvis, naturally. But
I don't have his money.
in heaven, you've got more. Okay,
a lot more. Yeah.
But in any event, Ken Hovind cannot be replaced. And who you've trained, God will take care of that. They're out there.
I will say it's been 8 years, almost. April will be 8 years we've been up here. And this is one of the few times I've worn a tie since then, and I'm real sick of this tie, brother. We sure got to have this for the interview. Go.
All right.
I like live out in the country, wear my shorts and my beat-up tennis shoes, and drive the old Jeep around and give tours, and it's heaven on earth.
When you look back at your time in ministry, the money you've spent, the time you've spent, the heartache you've had, the prison time, the attacks, when you look at all of it, is it worth it? Was it worth it?
Absolutely, yeah. There are probably things I would change if I could go back and do it again, but basically I've had a heart. I want to serve the Lord. I want to win souls. It's been that passion since early. I was 16 when I got saved. Soon thereafter, within 6 months, I led my first soul to the Lord. And so that ignited a fire in me. I want to do this from now on. And so I think, there's obviously things I would change and try to do better, especially if I knew ahead of time what this is going to cause. I didn't do anything wrong to go to prison at all. I was exposing the evil that fired him up.
So 45 years from now, let's say you pass away, what do you want your legacy to be?
I guess just a servant of the Lord.
Is that how you prefer to be remembered?
Yeah, he's the boss. I'm trying to do what he said. He said go into all the world and preach the gospel. Is anybody else doing that? I mean, people ask me, what are you trying to do? I say, well, this is what I'm doing. What are you doing? I'm trying to catch Zelda. Whatever. That's important,
Yeah.
Some people waste their entire life on the dumbest things. Just the dumbest things. What on earth is wrong with you? Did they have the Super Bowl in the last couple of months or something? I don't even know who played.
I think, yeah. I don't either.
I don't care. Grown men in tight pants chasing a ball. I mean, come on. Isn't there anything else more important in life?
A lot.
Not to some people.
Okay. So at the end of everyone's life, we're going to stand before our judge, and we're either going to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant," or "Depart from me, I never knew you." What do you think Ken Hovind is going to hear?
I hope he says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." He's given me, he gave me a country to live in with freedom. The poor Chinese Christians don't have this. I think about that a lot. What about the Christians in Iraq? If they dare share their faith, they'll get executed. We got the freedom here. Let's use it. We may lose it one day. I think we will.
Sooner than later, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Meanwhile, use it.
Is there anything that you would want to touch on for the documentary that I haven't touched on? Anything you think I missed?
Well, if I die, I tell the atheists, it wouldn't do any good to kill me because we've got DVDs and books that are going to keep going.
They are.
And how many programs have I done? Gee whiz, thousands and thousands of programs. They can't stop that now. It's too late. So.
All right. I think that went really great, guys. I
Okay.
think it's going to be awesome.
Sounds good. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Doctor.
What do we got there, Joseph? Turn down for what? I don't know.